Welcome back to my channel. Natalie here, and today we're going to be talking about trophy wife. The trophy wife who married a monster.
Definitely low. I didn't know that at the time, but if I think back about the kind of men that I was choosing, it definitely was a reflection of my lower self-esteem. My mom drilled into me, oh, go with the man that's going to be the best breeder. And I think society drilled into me to go after the thug, the street dude, the swag type dude, or whatever you want to call it. I was very self-sufficient, all about the mindset of, oh, I can do it by myself. I don't need a man, as so many of us modern women say. It felt so lonely, and it was sad. It was really sad. It was, I'd say, one of the lowest points in my life, and I realized that I don't want to do this on my own. I don't want to raise these boys on my own. I want a family, and I want someone that I can love, someone that loves me and my children.
Yes, my dear, the trophy wife married a monster. Now, this young lady was online. She has a channel. Her name is Isis, and she was online preaching to women about how she was able to marry her Prince Charming in under a year. This young lady found herself in her 20s with 2 young boys. Left the boy's dad and went on to some dating app. I think it was, I can't remember if it was eHarmony that she went on, and she met her current spouse. She met him, dated him, moved in with someone else. When she was ready to move out she moved in with someone else who did not get along with her children. And then when she was ready to move out of that relationship a few months later with her 2 boys, she ended up, this man contacted her and wanted to hook up. And she moved in with him. And within a few months, they were married. She says a few things that throw up red flags. She wanted an older man. A man 10 years older wasn't old enough. She wanted someone that was, and this man was 20 years older than her, which also raises some kind of red flag. And so, and that's not even just it. Like, she moved with her kids into the situation, married him, and right after she got married, he raped her a few times. I think it was 4 times, and she still stayed in the relationship. I'm gonna play for you what she has to say, because this is a warning to all my ladies out there. You know, a warning from me to you, you know, and hopefully share this with your daughters, because, you know, there are predators out there. There are men out there who prey on women. They prey on younger women. They prey on your weaknesses. They prey on your traumas, your past traumas. And so we're going to go ahead and play.
So when I met my husband, I knew right away almost, and people say that, but it was definitely true. I know it sounds cliche. Just from our first date, it just felt natural. I felt like I just had known this person already. It was so comfortable. I think we both were kind of just dating different people at the time, and it's not good to put all your eggs in one basket. But we had a great first date, and I think he ended up asking me to be his girlfriend on the first date, and I said I would think about it. Then I had gotten into a serious relationship with somebody, and I ended up falling for the girlfriend trap. But that guy had really been investing a lot into me and doing a lot for me, so I kind of felt like I had to agree to be his girlfriend, because he asked me multiple times, and I finally agreed. I could tell that he was really just putting up with my kids. He didn't really embrace them. Ended up taking my sister's advice and signing up for eHarmony, and I think the second person that I matched with was the man that I'm married to now, my husband. My husband and I have a 20-year age gap, and he was not the first older man that I dated. I actually dated someone like 10 years older than me. A lot of people have told me not very mature for my age, so someone 10 years older than me just wasn't a big enough age gap for me to vibe with.
A lot has happened since the last time that I recorded. I think the last time you guys saw me, I was in my 2nd trimester. I thought that when I came back on here that it would be to maybe do like some kind of newborn favorites or meet my new baby or something like that. But unfortunately, it's been a little over a month since I had to end up leaving my husband. I truly held my husband, or saw him, as the bar for what every woman should, type of man that, or type of husband that every woman should aspire to have. I thought that he was my Prince Charming. I thought that he was my knight in shining armor, and you know, he portrayed himself to be this amazing, upright, righteous Christian man, and I believed him. I didn't realize that the person I married was actually going to be my biggest nightmare. So basically, I think shortly after we got married, and this is something that I haven't talked about, I started noticing like certain things changed with him. I just started to see a few things that I didn't like. I honestly thought that some of these were things that I could get past.
Read it. Hold on. He raped me 4 times in the first few months of our marriage.
So when she's talking about, I saw a few things I thought I could get over.
Yes, you heard that right. He raped her 4 times. She took the babies to the hospital and found out that the 2-year-old and 4-year-old had been assaulted by their dad.
Immediately, my first thought was, did someone touch her? Oh God. I asked her, I said, baby, did somebody touch you? And she ended up saying it was Daddy.
And it's just horrible that this generally is something that happens, as I mentioned before, in the household. It happens with people, the people that you know. I commend her for listening to her daughters, because she, or her oldest one, the 2-year-old, I guess, couldn't talk, but the 4-year-old, hearing them out and not ignoring it and getting them out of the situation.
That he would just lie, and that he would probably just continue to keep doing stuff to her, but just become more covert or more sneaky or whatever. As soon as my husband got home, he was actually picking up the boys from school, my 2 older boys from school. As soon as he got home, I told him that I was gonna go Halloween shopping with my sister, because I just needed an excuse to get out of the house with all the kids. And I knew if I said something like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, that it would be suspicious. Like, why am I bringing all the kids, and like packing things, like things that we would need and things like that. So when I got to the hospital, they basically told me that we had to go to another hospital because they didn't do physical exams, like that kind of physical exam there. So a police officer escorted the kids and I to another hospital where they were able to evaluate my daughters. It ended up coming out that he had actually been touching both of my daughters, who are only 2 and 4 years old.
That person is a sick person. It's not because you didn't do your job. It's because that person is really fucking sick.
How do you know, though?
She just neglectly I like to believe that it's not her.
That's a fair statement.
I like to believe that it's
The truth is, we don't know.
The truth is, we don't know.
And I'm not even, because I didn't even want to go there. But I also don't want to just sit here and lie. I don't know.
It's not lie. It's just,
I don't know, but
we don't know. We just don't.
We don't know. But when the topic of like people diddling kids comes up, people always talk about stranger danger, and it's rarely strangers. Like 99% of the time, it's the people closest to you. It's an uncle.
It's some people.
It's an aunt,
someone
a cousin,
a babysitter,
a family friend.
Mm-hmm.
A pastor. People who have high positions of trust.
Yep.
I feel so many different things, you know. You hear about stories like these and you just think to yourself, like, how? Because if you spend around time kids and you see how innocent they are, the idea of defiling somebody like that, not that you should defile anybody, but the most vulnerable is just the most scummy thing I could ever think of. And I don't know, it feels so distinctly different, doesn't it? Of all the things, like, this is the one where it's like, what commentary can you really offer? The most vulnerable amongst us is targeted by certain people for their own gratification, for their pleasure is so important to them. They don't care that they might ruin that person's life and everyone else around. They don't care. That's how scummy it is.
90% of the kids that are assaulted by a family member. And so, and imagine only 15% of these children are brave enough to speak. And many times the ones who speak are not believed. Now, with that said, something else I want to say for my ladies out there. And this is why I brought this up, because I want you to share this with your daughters. The traumas that we face as women in childhood sometimes resurface, just as it did for this young lady, for Isis. Isis was molested as a child. She's a product of her grape, as her mom was raped, and that's how she was. That's how she came to be. And so, when you are dating an older man, and she just thought so much that she was so sophisticated and so much like more older, so that she was more mature than her age, so mature that she couldn't date someone her age, that she had to go look for a 40-year-old, that she did not realize that she was looking for the absent father figure in her life. See, ladies, many women who don't have father figures in their lives behave in this way. And when I say father figures, I mean father figures who are protectors, father figures who are there to show their daughters what they should be, how they should be treated, so that the daughter is aware of what love is, what it is when a man loves you, what it feels like, what it looks like. And so this young lady had no idea what love looks like. She went and listened to some influencers online who gave her a picture, who painted some picture of what you need to do, that you know, I think this woman that she was listening to even went as far as to say that it's okay, like if you're in the home with someone and the guy's not taking care of you or not doing whatever, that it's okay if you cheat on him. In what world do we live in that that's okay? It's just not. If you're not happy in the situation that you're in with the person that you're with, then it's time to leave. Can you imagine? Like, you're cheating, you're telling, like, she's basically been told that it's okay, been groomed by some other woman who was a single mom and not married to say that, hey, yeah, like it's okay. Like you should go out there and sleep with other people and then go back home and sleep with your husband. Maybe. I don't know. Like, and so, you know, taking advice and then being a trophy wife, she was so happy. She was so ecstatic that I am the trophy. And I'm going to play these two guys for you, so I can give you an idea of what men think about women who call themselves trophies or see themselves as trophies.
Your channel revolves around you promoting the idea of a trophy wife. I think this is a side of this conversation that we don't like indulging in, but I do hear women talk about this sometimes. A trophy wife is essentially somebody who puts themselves at the beck and call of their husband and basically gives most of the financial and the responsibility to somebody else, thus giving them the power. I just want to think about what kind of person that might attract and what kind of dynamic you create for yourself, where you become subservient to circumstances that you may not otherwise be if you retain some of that power and some of that financial capability within the relationship dynamic. We're talking about the graping of the kids, but the truth is, when you were raped 4 times, that should have been the end of it, right?
That's where I didn't want to sound like a jackass, so I let it slide.
What's confusing? Exactly.
I'm trying not to look like a jackass. But yeah, no.
What were you gonna say?
No, nothing.
No, it's not about blaming. It's just to have a conversation about, like, we have to be careful with these labels now, because I notice on the internet we glorify the idea of being a trophy wife. Okay, but we also have to think about what it is that we're essentially doing in that kind of dynamic. What we're giving up, what we're putting ourselves at risk, and the kids that we bring into that relationship.
What does
That's
that
all I'm trying
mean?
to say.
A trophy don't talk.
A trophy's not to be respected.
A trophy don't talk. A trophy just look good.
You know,
It's just there. Yay, I got the trophy.
to me, I made the same comment with the other group of girls, the prawn stars who were talking about, becoming trophy wives and how great and amazing it is. And I was just like, what's great about being in somebody's cabinet, some kind of possession? Like, do you want to be treated like a human? I don't know. To talk about yourself that way and to glorify that idea, and then to be in a circumstance where you get objectified, I just think we have to be careful. Actually, no. I'm gonna go a little bit stronger. I think we should probably dump the idea of glorifying being a trophy wife. I think it's okay to say you want to be a traditional. Well, it's fine, but some of these terms and the kind of people who get attracted to these ideas, I don't know if you want to mingle with that. Now, maybe some of you could be like, you're victim blame. I'm not trying to victim blame them. I think it's okay to say certain lifestyles invite certain negative things. And I think it's okay to say we shouldn't promote these lifestyles because they encourage a lot of these negative things. And I shouldn't be shaming the people who end up suffering from the negative consequences. But I think it's okay to say, don't hang around drug dealers and all these guys because you might get blasted. And I think it's okay to say don't promote these kind of relationship dynamics that always put the women far below the men and treat it as an object. If that's victim, I don't know. But I think it's important to say that because this is the negative side of this stuff. If they can go out and promote it and it sometimes can have very dark outcomes, I think it's okay to be on the other side and say, this is some of the bad things that happen to it. And it's a possibility, not saying this is the case, that this is what this attracts. I know I would be nervous if my sibling told me they were a trophy wife to some rich guy. Nervous. And he was, and they were publicly saying that, and he was okay with that. I'm like, how does he view this person that I consider, I don't want her to ever be harmed, but he views her as a trophy? How would I feel about my loved one being in that kind of dynamic?
Nervous? I'd be more than nervous, but yeah.
These are two influencers on the internet here that I found, and they were kind of funny, but it was not funny when you see what men think of you when you put yourself as a trophy, as something. Your trophy is something that can be bought. And so, I don't know what has happened. I think there's a lot of women out there, young ladies and women out there who have been traumatized and either have not had therapy. And so you keep repeating a cycle with men, or, and hopefully it's not anything this severe, because this cycle with this man literally got her to a point where she was able to marry a predator who preyed on her, because do you know that men who prey on women like this because it's easier to get away with these things after they're married to you. You know why? It's because the likelihood of someone believing you, they have more control over the situation. And imagine someone who preyed on you to have kids with you that they could also prey on. And you missed all the flags because you thought you were a trophy. You missed all the flags because you didn't know any better. You didn't know what love looked like. You missed all the flags, even to the point of thinking that it was okay for this man to grape you 4 times. And you stayed, thinking it will get better, My question is, did it get better? Because, ironically, it probably got better as the kids got older. The kids were getting old enough. I don't know what old enough to do this is to. Who thinks that a child is old enough to do that to? But I don't know, because we don't even know at what point he started. The kids may have been like little babies. I don't know. And she just had a baby. So I'm just appalled. and shocked, right? Because even before I saw this woman online, I didn't even know that that was a thing. I mean, I've seen things about, I see a lot of women out there talk about femininity and things like that. And I'm all for that. I'm all for being balanced in your feminine and your masculine energy. I'm all for being okay with playing a feminine role with your husband, but I'm also for stepping into your masculine energy when necessary. So to do that, you have to be balanced. You have to know when to say when. You have to know, and then, therapy is definitely required. Therapy is definitely required. I think all women, before they get married, should see a therapist. Hindsight is 2020. I didn't go to therapy before my first marriage, but I definitely went to therapy before my second marriage. See, because I knew that whatever mistakes I had made in my first marriage, I didn't want to do them again. I didn't want to make them over again. And I also realized that I was vulnerable. And so before I took that step, I had gone to therapy, and I continued in therapy. And he was in therapy and so, therapy is for everybody. I think we all have childhood wounds. We all have childhood traumas, and those look different for everyone. And hers were such red flags that this man, that she could not see when he came in, and the littlest thing that he did, maybe it was, this woman was making, Isis was making $100,000 a year with her 2 kids, and still felt like she needed a man to take care of her because she was recklessly spending her own money. And so when you have a man that knows that he can buy you, that is a bad place to be, ladies. That is not where you want to be. You want a man who can be your partner. You want a man who can support you. You want a man who will take care of you, but you want that man to also know that you can take care of yourself. That you are not looking to him for everything that you need. And if he wants to provide you everything that you need, that is beautiful. Kudos. I'm happy for you. Right? But there's nothing better than being able to know that if you want something, that you don't have to ask someone for it. I'm not creating a fictitious life where I live in this mansion that I can't afford. And, I know a lot of you ladies out there are going to say, well, if he loves me, like how quick man can say anything. He can say he loves you. He'll tell you anything. If he can see, and then I'm going to play another clip for you before we go, because I want to show you what it looks like. What another man who's actually posted a video online to say how he's 36, how to explain how and why he would prey on an 18-year-old. And he says maybe because he can't say that he would prey any younger, or else what he is saying could probably land him in jail. But I still feel like what he's saying is gel bait material, because you're literally getting online and you're telling me that you're 36 and you would not date a woman over 18 or 20 because you can mold her. What does that mean? I just felt like regurgitating right now. So you'll have to excuse me. It just made me it just nauseated me, the thought that This is what men think. So ladies out there, if you're in your teens, I know I speak, my channel speaks to mostly ladies that are in their 40s, and some of us in our 40s, 50s, have learned some hard lessons. And after watching this young lady, I was like, that's a really hard lesson. And in the day of social media, when I was growing up, there wasn't social media. We had magazines and newspapers and TV if your parents would let you watch it, right? So all this exposure was not available, but now you have women online who are ready to teach you how to sell yourself. And you're selling yourself short, really, because it's not that glamorous life. Like they're selling you how to put on a mask and go out there and pretend that you're living the soft life. Like you're a movie star. Even movie stars are not living that soft life. Not like that. They're working hard. All those movie stars that you see, they go to work. They provide for themselves. Maybe to a fault, right? Because everything can be done in excess in either direction. But you'll see some women that some of these actresses and models and that you admire, they're working, right? So these women are not just looking to men to provide for them. Maybe they want a man in their life. They don't have him because they need him. And maybe some do. I can't speak for everybody. But what I do know is that it's a bad way to be. It's a bad way to start. And even in marriages that are arranged, sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. Because I know there are a lot of marriages that are arranged out there, and that every culture has their prerogative to do what they want. But when marriages are arranged for money, it's the same thing. That man has literally bought that woman. And now what? Why, and I understand why. I can't say I don't understand why. But you want to skip all the steps that it really takes to do the work, to have a good man in your life, and just skip all the steps and just get a man that says he wants to take care of you, that says he's going to take care of you and you don't have to do anything but go get your nails done, get your hair done. A lot of these women that do that, the husbands they cheat on them, they're abused, because they're literally a trophy. They just use them, like when they're a prop. These women are used like props. They have a dinner date that they need to present somebody pretty, so that go ahead, honey, go get dressed, put on that pretty dress, let's go. And then what afterwards? Is that love? Like, what are you looking for after that? And so that's the thing. Like, I think a lot of women think that they're going to go into these situations. Maybe the guy is in love with them. And here's the thing, ladies, news flash for you, right? Just because a man sleeps with you, he doesn't love you. It doesn't mean he loves you. Nope. He doesn't have to love you to sleep with you. And just because after he sleeps with you doesn't mean that he feels like a love connection to you. You as a woman, you may feel a love connection to him because we are emotionally built differently. Just because he slept with you, no, that's not love. That man's got to show you that he loves you. That man's got to do something. I'm not saying he has to buy some things. He has to do some things. He has to show you respect. That's love. You know? I was listening to someone else who was talking about this, and they said, you know, love is when, you know, after you've worked a long day and your husband comes home and you know what, he's like, baby, I thought about you on your way home after when he's coming home from work. He said, hey, I bought you a sandwich. That's love. He thought about you. He literally thought about you on the way home. All the other stuff that's in the house is stuff he lives in the house. He's gonna buy it anyway. And men don't really care that much for the stuff that's in the house, but they'll buy it to furnish the house. And then you trophy wife yourself and you have him put you in the house as another piece of furnishing. Are you kidding me? So that's the only thing that I give her fault for, but you know, she needs to get, I've seen a lot of people make comments that, you know, like some of this is her fault, and you know, she didn't have any guidance. That's the other thing. I think she said she helped her sisters do the same thing, repeat that cycle and find the same thing. And then, you know, all the while, you know, she was posting videos. He raped her 4 times, ladies, during their marriage. And while she's posting these videos and telling everybody what a great life she was living, until this incident happened with her kids. So she was lying to everybody about. So be careful out there who you listen to, because not everyone out there is telling you the truth. If you're thinking about getting married, I suggest therapy. I suggest everybody go to therapy. Go talk out your childhood wounds. If you have mother-father wounds, go talk those out. If you've been neglected, if you've had any type of abuse as a child, go talk them out with a therapist. Because if not, these older gentlemen, especially if you're in your 20s and the guy's in his 40s, he is sniffing you out. You're like I don't know, what can I say? He's like a hawk sniffing out his prey. You know how hawks hover over and they can see the smaller animals below them? Even babies, they can pick up. That's how strong they are. That's how smart they are. That's how accurate they are when they're hunting. And if you allow them to, they will hunt you down. And the end result is going to be you needing more therapy. And now I waited till the end, and I'm gonna play this tape for you, this clip for you of this man, this 36-year-old man who says he won't date anybody that's under 17. He tells you why he won't date anyone under 17 or over 17. I'm sorry, 17 or 18. So how he will mold them. I hope this message found you well today. Until next time, you stay beautiful, you stay inspired, you stay sexy, so you can keep taking care of yourself and those around you, and stay alert. Go to therapy. It's not a bad thing. And don't leave quite yet. Listen to this clip, because I think every woman out there, whether you're in your 40s, your 50s, or your 20s, you need to hear this, because some of you out there got daughters in their 20s, or you have daughters out there that are teenagers. And we all have traumas. So I love you. Sending you peace and love.
that is that by the time a woman turns 22, 23, 27, sometimes even by the time they're 20 years old or even younger, they have acquired so many bad habits, so many negative behavior patterns, so many crazy and wrong and harmful opinions and points of view, that it is actually quite staggering how many bad habits needs to be worked out of them, that sometimes it's too late for them.
Pause. Also, at that age, they are so arrogant with their knowledge, the little knowledge that they know, that they think they really got it. And you got to argue with them, thinking that they know life. You know how I know? I was a teenager as well.
It was interesting too, because you guys talk about like, oh, they develop so many bad habits, all this other stuff. And then you look at the guys who say this goofy ass shit, and they're some of the most dysfunctional, emotional.
Welcome to the multiverse.
Yeah, it just, like, what, you were the one who were going to tell her? You know, the guy you're taking cues from is just yelling at women, dropping hard NERs all the time, always emotional, constantly harassing people on social media all day, can't keep his shit together. Again! And I was like, why are you, as a 36-year-old man who's more hormonal than a menopausal woman, okay, gonna dictate to a young 18-year-old how to live life and be a decent person? Most of y'all are embarrassing to be around. Why are you guys trying to give cues to others? I don't get it.
Hence, if you date an 18, 19, 20-year-old girl, then they can be saved. Now, when my good friend Myron Gaines says women do not come pre-assembled, he means they're not a finished and complete product outside the box. They need the guidance of a man to kind of push away these bad habits that they may be acquiring from mainstream media, certainly from universities and college campuses. Feminism, movies, pop culture, etc. is actually quite staggering, and that's why I'm considering dating younger girls, because they tend to be more of like a blank slate, and very feminine women, if they are dating a guy who has a strong masculine frame, they tend to just kind of absorb his points of view and his ways of thinking and his value system. And truly feminine and naturally submissive women kind of mold themselves. I've done a lot of research recently on Myron Gaines, my good friend. I've watched some of his videos. I've been a little bit on a binge. And this is going to be a combination of research that I've done on exactly elaborating on that statement, why women don't come pre-assembled. This is also a list of red flags and things you need to look out for with girls you're dating. And like I said, with younger girls, hopefully you can get them before they've adopted these negative behavior patterns or made some of these mistakes.
Women don't come pre-assembled. Nobody comes pre-assembled. It's called your 20s, you fucking
Tell them.
Like, who is who they were at 20, at 30?
I hope the fuck not.
Every guy I know changed.